Today, we are going to discuss about the degree of operating leverage, financial leverage, and combined leverage. That is our aim. Of course, everybody knows the formula, everything, but how we are going to incorporate all these things to our students. That is the core aim of today's program. So in today's program, what we are going to do, when we organize our practicals, we will find out some of the things. Usually, what is the aim of the practical? What is the core outcome? All these things we wish to know. So I wish to organize this thing in such a manner in which or in which method we can deliver to our students based upon my experience as well as the NSC Academy people. Because in my college, all the NSC Academy people are coming and they are handling the course. We are having a hands-on training with them. Slowly, we are going to have our own system. So that is how we expertise with this thing. So we converted from the NSC people as well as the BSc people according to the curriculum side. So the learning outcome of today's program is how we can organize the practical, such type of practicals to the UG and PG students. That is the core learning outcome. Of course, the learning outcome from the conceptual side, when we are telling to our students, we are able to take decision based upon the financial leverage. Our students are able to take decision based upon the financial leverage. They are very good in calculation, of course, very easy formula, everything. But whether they are able to take decision, I think some of my friends are from Goa and Krishnamal College. All of the things, no. Now we are moving towards the outcome-based education. So if we are going to introduce such type of outcome-based education, we must define the learning outcome. So if we impart this thing to our students, our learning outcome is very clear. Our students are able to take decision based upon the financial leverage. That is the core aim. That is the final thing when they created a modeling chart. And from the Excel side, the students must know the modular financial model. Modular financial model means what today we are going to work out. If we create a template, everybody is able to use the same. For any problem, we can use the same template. Once the students are able to create a template, it is very easy for them. It can be used for any other purpose. But usually, previously, we used to create a template and give to students. But now, under the outcome-based education, we are expecting our students to do everything. Our students are able to create the template. Then only they will understand the concept of leverage exactly. Otherwise, they will stop with simply calculation. That is why from the Excel side, how we can use the functions in Excel, simple thing. Then how we can create the formula in case of leverage only additions, multiplication, divisions only come. Of course, in decision making, how to use the nested functions we are going to see, and also the solver function in Excel, how we can use in leverage, what if analysis. These are all the functional things our student must know. That is the learning outcome of the practical session. Usually we used to fix that course learning outcome. That is the aim. So my agenda, even though we are going for the practical first 5 minutes, I will tell about the leverage. We can recap what we know about the leverage. After that, we will move on to the Excel, how we can use that one. You know, there are two types of leverage we are going to discuss today. Basically, of course, third one is the combination. That is the simple thing. What is the leverage? Why we are calculating the leverage? What are the risks involved in leverage? Simple thing, leverage, a small amount of sales change leads to how much amount of change in the profit. That is the leverage. A small amount of change in earnings before interest and tax leads to how much percentage change in the EBT or earnings per share. That is the concept of leverage. You know that one. So here we are going to discuss the degree of operating leverage. Usually degree of operating leverage, we will calculate to know the impact factor of the fixed cost. How efficiently we can use the fixed cost. That is the purpose of the degree of operating leverage. In case of degree of financial leverage, it will reflect the financial obligation, especially how effectively we are using the debt component. That will be reflected in the degree of financial leverage. In case of degree of combined leverage, it is the combination of both DFL and DCL. That is degree of financial leverage and degree of operating leverage. That we used to call it as DCL. And when we start the problem of financial leverage, we have to understand the thing, basic things. Based upon the leverage, what are all the decisions we are going to take? First thing, what is the operation level? The leverage based upon the number of units produced. That is the production capacity. And it will clearly tell the operational efficiency of the organization. So our students must know this thing, not only the calculation. Calculations, it is easy. But when it comes to the application side, they must be able to take the decision based upon the production level, sales volume level, selling price level. That is the decisions based upon this leverage. That is what we are going to give importance for that one. And next important thing, the students are able to take decision based upon the fixed cost. That is the core component, how efficiently we are using the fixed cost and how the students understand the concept of variable portion. That is the variable cost. These are all the things we must understand in case of the leverage. Let us move on to how we can incorporate this thing in Excel. That is what we are going to see. So now you understand the DOL, DFL, and DCL, degree of operating leverage, financial leverage, DCL. Its main application is to take the decision based upon the selling price per unit, production capacity, how efficiently we are using the fixed cost. These are the things we know from this thing. So let us move on to the Excel, how we can use the Excel sheet for this purpose. Okay. Yes. Now, in my system, it is a Office 365. Anyway, I will share the recording. You can also practice to our students clearly. Okay. Now the Excel has been set up. The problem. What is the problem we are going to take? Here I have given the problem. Usual thing, units of production. We are assume that we are going to produce 2000 units. The selling price per unit is 40, variable cost per unit is rupees 18, and debt, that is debentures, total debt component is rupees 1 lakh rupees. We assume that interest rate is 12%. That is the problem. We are going to construct a modular sheet. That is the financial modeling sheet. So if you want to construct a modeling sheet, it should be used for any n number of purpose, not only solving this problem of leverage. Once an Excel sheet has been constructed, we have to use as the template. That is the aim. So what I'm doing, you can see in this Excel sheet, so far I have not enabled any formula, only written this. Same thing, units of production 2000 and selling price given. Yes. Selling price rupees 40, variable cost rupees 18, debt 1 lakh 12%. So that is the problem. Now we are creating a model sheet. So in the model sheet, what I am expecting, we have to give the input, we have to prepare the income statement, and what is the calculation purpose, operating leverage, financial leverage, combined leverage, then what is the implication of degree of operating leverage, degree of financial leverage, implication of DCL. This is the modular sheet, a combination. Okay, so whatever we are creating, this is the final one. So I'm simply giving very light color, okay, for your. These are all things what we are going to, or we can prepare a border. This is the model worksheet. We can name as a worksheet. So in case of the worksheet, how we can give, we have to input that one. Input we can finally convert into an yellow color format so that we can know that these are all the input statements. First input, units of production, it is in units 2000. Okay. Selling price, I am entering rupees 40. We can format that one at the end. That is the format. Rupee symbol you can format. If you doesn't know that one, you can, I have shown in this thing how to format. You can go to the symbol currency and you can format that one, especially in case of the input one. Variable cost per unit, rupees 18. Yes. Fixed cost, we can, oh, it is not, we can assume that 12,000 fixed cost. I will once again check 12,000. Then debt debentures is 1 lakh. Interest rate, we have to mention in terms of percentage or 0.1. 12%. That is the percentage. So This is the common modular. So we created the input. I already the values input. So we made it as the formatting in case of currency symbol everything. Okay. Now we are going to prepare the statement. So in case of statement, we may use the formulas. So let us go to the first one, sales. Yes, sales is equal to number of units produced. So in the formula bar, 2000, that is, you can click that one, it will show that H4, cell number H4 multiplied by cell number H5. That is 2000 multiplied by 40. That is how we are bringing into income statement. Only if you use this type of thing, the advantage is when you change the units of production, automatically sales will change. That is why we are using such type of method. Variable cost, same thing, is equivalent to number of units produced, multiplication symbol, and variable cost per unit. Then the contribution. Contribution, you know the formula, sales minus variable cost. So we can input clearly sales. Sales is given here, H13 minus H40. So variable. So variable cost has been selected. Now we can get the fixed contribution of 44. That is the formula. So everything should be in the formula here. So then only we can change. Of course, we can give the referencing also, but I have given directly. Fixed cost, no change, and here is equal to same thing. 87. Whatever we have given, it will be the same. Now, we'll move on to the earnings before interest and tax. It is the contribution minus fixed cost. So, is equal to contribution minus fixed cost. So, everything it should be the formula here. Interest rate will be the face value of the debt multiplied by interest rate. So, is equal to debt, it is in H8 column multiplied by rate of interest. Now, EBIT, earnings before tax. So, EBIT minus interest is equal to, this is the EBIT, H17 minus interest, 20,000. So now you can see, we have created a modular one. The advantage is if there is any change in the input, automatically it will change here. So all these items are formula. Basic thing for the income statement. Simple reason, you can change anything. Say for example, if selling price becomes 42, everything will change. There is no need for going any calculation. That is the advantage. I'm going back to 40. That depends upon this thing. So that is the advantage. We can use the same sheet for any number of topics. That is why for the students, when you are giving for the practical purpose, give the input in a different style. When they are preparing the output sheet, everything should be in a form. so that a small change in the input, it can be reflected in the output file. So we can give like that. Now coming to the core thing, degree of operating leverage. That is the operating leverage formula. It is the contribution divided by EBIT. Of course, you can mention percentage of change also, but you can use the formula contribution divided by EBIT. A simple thing. So what I am giving is equal to contribution, that is in H15 column, divided by EBIT. Yes. So H17 column is the EBIT, H15 is the contribution. Yes. So that is we are dividing. Likewise, financial leverage is equal to EBIT divided by EBIT. Yes. Now we know the DOL, DFL. The combined leverage is the operating leverage multiplied by financial DFL. Up to this basic calculations over. This thing anybody can easily do up to this. But our outcome is not this. Our outcome is the students are able to take decision based upon this thing. That is the core aim of calculating the leverage. First aim, the students is able to create a template modular form. Then the students are able to take decision based upon that. That is what under the outcome-based education we expect. Usually in textbooks, when they calculate this thing, we will give full marks and yes, over. But very important thing, why we are using Excel, the aim is we have to go for modular system and decision making, automated decision making process, we have to impart to the students. That is the purpose of the calculation. Okay. That is why we are using this type of method. Let us see what is the implication of the degree of operating leverage. If you say in case of practical manner, a degree of operating leverage, what we can interpret, if it is less than 1 means even up to 0.9, the fixed costs are relatively low. That is the decision based upon the operating leverage. If the operating leverage is less than 1, it means that fixed costs are relatively very low. Of course, the business is having the less risk, but there is no need for movement in upside. That is, students are able to tell. When they prepare this type of sheet, students are able to tell clearly in this situation, since the degree of operating is less than 1, it means that the fixed cost is low. Our risk level is also very low. If the risk is level, we can't go for more profit. That is also the problem. Second thing, if the leverage is around 1, that means I have mentioned plus or minus 10%, the business relies more on the variable cost. Nice thing. We are not depending upon the fixed cost. We have to say that business depends upon the variable cost. Around 1. That means I assume that between 0.9 to 1. Next, if the degree of operating leverage is between 1 and 2, It means that moderate fixed cost. And it is somewhat balanced. That is the optimum level. These are all the things based upon the recent research conducted. They clearly mentioned that one. In case of Indian system, of course, it varies according to the nature of the industry. But here I am clearly mentioning in the common nature. If it is between 1 and 2, the profit is growing very faster if there's sales. But if the leverage is higher than 2, it means that the fixed costs are high and more potential of risk also. But if there is risk only, there is a premium. Of course, it will reflect that more risk, but also more gain. That is the interpretation of degree of operating. So what we have to do, these things we have to bring into the Excel sheet. That is what we need. That is why we have to define the nested if functions. That is the core thing we have to understand. Once the nested if statement has been defined by the student, he knows clearly what will be the output. Usually, my opinion, staff need not do that one. Let the students study the nested loop statement and prepare. Then only they will understand the decision making. Here, I mentioned the nested loop function. Yeah, that is the H21. That is if H21 is less than 0.9. Why I mentioned 0.1 means that is around 1, we have to take decision. So less than 0.9, the fixed cost is low. The decision it should come, fixed cost is low. If it is between 0.9 and 1.1, the organization is depending upon variable cost. And if it is between 1.1 and 2, it means that the leverage is well balanced. That is the standard norms. Of course, it varies. If you are giving chemical industries, entirely it will differ. If you are giving financial services, especially banks, it will be different. If the leverage is more than 2, it means higher fixed cost. This is the core thing the student should understand when they are going to take decision making. This is the basic concept of the leverage. This leverage decision making, students are able to bring into the formula. That if a student is able to do, definitely he is able to take a nice decision. Okay. So now I am interpreting the degree of operating leverage. You need not worry about the statement of nested looping. If any problem comes now, what my students, MBA students are doing, if they are making mistake, they never depend upon us. What they are doing, directly they are asking ChatGPT and entry. Don't mistaken me. For the purpose of studying, we can use AI. Immediately, they are sample checking the formula and they are entering that. That is the concept nowadays. So if you find any difficult, don't worry. You can write the formula. What I mentioned here, I use the same formula for degree of operating leverage and entered in the, that's the if nested statement. So here, the result, since here it is 1.35, it shows that balance use of leverage. Degree of operating leverage is balance use of leverage. So this formula is very, very essential. Once the calculation is over, the interpretation is there. Same thing. If you come to the degree of financial leverage, if it is less than 1, it means that less debt, or we are not borrowing the funds. If it is around 1, it means that a limited use of debt. Once again, it is limited use of debt. Of course, we are depending upon still equity financing. If it is between 1 and 2, it is good. Balance leverage. It is more than 2 means our debt is too much and we are living in a high risk level. This is the decision making. So our students are able to bring this decision making in this country. That is core outcome of studying the leverage. Since we are living in the outcome-based education, I think I interpreted with some of our faculty, all are coming to the autonomous colleges. So I am using the same formula, DFL, for the purpose of interpreting degree of financial leverage. Yes, here also the leverage is 1.6. So it shows that balance use of leverage. You have to enter the formula correctly. Now, don't mistake me. For the purpose of speed record, I have mentioned this side. So simply copying from this side to here. Then, the purpose of degree of combined leverage, same thing. If it is less than 1, low fixed cost. Around 1, good. We can use the equity and others. The revenue changes are good. And between 1 and 2, it is the balance approach. More than that 1, it is high risk. Simple changes have been done. Same thing. So created that one. In case of the DCL also, same formula. Yes, here it is high risk. It shows that 2.2. Degree of leverage, combined leverage is 2.2. And some of the researchers say that combined leverage may go up to 3. But I use the recent research done in IIM Bangalore, which has been published clearly. It shows that in case of most of the corporates, you have to adjust this. Okay. Yes. Now our entire Excel worksheet is understand worksheet. So this is the modular worksheet. Why I am telling, if any changes is happening, it will change till the end. Say for example, I am reducing the selling price to 36. You can see it is affecting everything. Degree of operating leverage is good, but financial leverage, everything, it is moving high risk status. I am adjusting the selling price more, 42. Even then, it shows high risk for the DCL. Of course, the DCL, we have fixed the target of 2, high risk. So whenever we are making changes here, it will be reflected there. Main purpose is the fixed cost. If the fixed cost increases to 15,000, you can change the maximum utilization of fixed cost. So why we created the worksheet? Any changes, we can see here and accordingly we can know what is happening. That is the biggest advantage of creating the modular that we can understand. If we are having more alternatives, we need not worry. You can expand this thing also. You can copy and you can drag and find out everything. Yes. We can, if we expand this sheet, same, of course, it has changed something. This is 12%. 12, 12. So we are having a same thing. Each and everything we can have some adjustment and find out. Say, for example, in this thing, if our units of production become 2,500, what is the leverage? You can see everything, it is balanced. Okay. Here we change the increase in production. So simple thing. If we increase the production up to 2,500, you can say that it is the balanced use of leverage. Likewise, any situation you can change. Here we are reducing the or increasing the variable cost 20. Increase in variable cost. What is the effect we can see? The high risk. So every alternatives we can work. This is the advantage of modular form of Excel sheet. So if a student is able to design, he will take nice decision when he is working in the organization or when he is starting his own organization, he is able to plan nicely. If increase in production, what will happen? If there's an increase in variable cost, what will happen? If the fixed cost changes, say for example, fixed cost is increasing, increase in fixed cost to 15,000 to 18,000. Yes. What is happening? What is the change in the leverage you can see. But of course, the decision making is somewhat same. But we can understand what is happening in each and every one. This is needed for our students. Then only our students are able to achieve the outcome. They can adjust, they can simulate all those input. However, they can't change the output because all these are all formula. They can make any changes in the input and adjust everything so that they will study themselves. Our aim is making our students to learn by themselves. That is the aim. So once you created this thing, students are able to learn. That is the major advantage. Likewise, in some decision makings also, we can compare this thing we are comparing with different results. Okay. Another one nice function is also available in the. We expect our leverage should be in a particular one. So what type of input we can? Let us assume that, say for example, degree of operating leverage. We are expecting exactly 2. Here at present, okay, I'm going to the next one. Degree of operating leverage, I am expecting here in the third alternative DOL expectation is so what will be the selling price? Whether we can adjust anything or anything, we can find. There's an option here in case of the Excel tool. We used to call it as a solver function. Solver function is available in data. If it is not available, you can go to the file and enable the toolkit. If you enable the toolkit, if you click the data, solver function will come. It is in the top right. You can see here, this is the solver. Okay. In solver function, if you click, it will show this template. I am showing in my camera view. It contains set the objective, what will be the desired value, what are all the changes you need. You can give. Say for example, we wish to set the objective of degree of operating leverage here. That is, the column is L21. The cell number is cell L21. That is our objective. I fixed the objective like that. And the value I am expecting exactly 2. Because we are expecting degree of operating will be 2. And what is the result we are expecting? I wish to know what will be the selling price. So by changing the variable, what I am doing, this one. How much selling price we can fix. That is this one. Now I fix this all. So you can understand, set the objective is L21. L21 is the degree of operating leverage cell. Then the value I am expecting my degree of operating leverage should be 2. And we can adjust our selling price and ask them to solve. It will give the option, keep solver option. You can see it has given. It is somewhat equivalent to 1.99. That is, if you want to bring the operating leverage as 2, that is 1.99 here, you can go for fixing the selling price as 30. That is, degree of operating leverage is 2. Finding the selling price. I'm mentioning. Okay. So it decided. If we expect the degree of operating leverage as 2, what will be the selling price? We use the solver option. So simple thing. In case of solver option, it will tell clearly what is the objective, what is the value we can fix, which variable we can change. Even we can give some more condition, but here I wish to know what is the selling price. Okay, simple thing. Likewise, you can practice any number of items in the Excel. It is not for practicing. The students must know how to take decision making based upon this thing in a different level, so that they can take their own decision. Likewise, we are having the other functions also available. You can compare the results of this thing using the what if analysis also. You can see the what if analysis. Goal seek is also there. You can check that one. Yes. Okay. We can add some scenario. Okay. First scenario, I'm adding the same thing, increasing the production to 3,000. So changing the cells here. This is the changing the cells. And that is can give. Enter the values. We are expecting it should be 3,000. We can add number of things also. Add, increase production by 3,500. Same cells by changing M4, okay, 3,500. Now you can ask the summary. What is the result we need? The summary of this thing, all the leverages. Now, it has created this scenario. So this is then another interesting method students can learn so that they will know. The present production level is 2,000. Next production level is 3,000. Then increased by 3,500. At present, it is high risk in degree of combined leverage. If you are increasing, you can see the result. If it is 3,500, everything is coming under the range. So our optimum level of production, better to go up to 3,000 also. 3,000 means it is a optimum leverage. So that is the solution. We can easily take the decision. The students must know this. So that is the core aim of the outcome-based education. So in the outcome-based education, we need all those. That is why if you prepare a simple sheet, only calculation, our story it shows only the Excel functions. But since it is a practical thing, we can teach the students in such a manner that we have to achieve the outcome. What are the decisions taken from the leverage, top to bottom, students must know. If they create their own modular template, definitely they are able to do anything. That is the deep understanding of the subject. That is what we need. That is why we call it as outcome-based education. And under the Bloom's taxonomy, they are able to go up to the last level. They are able to create their own capital structure, their own expected income level structure. They are able to create. Even break even, they can easily find out. Because EBIT is given. If EBIT is 0, what will be the units of production? If they give in solver, it will come. So multiple things they can do in a single modular sheet. So it is our duty to teach all those things so that our students will learn everything in a clear manner. That is the core aim of this thing. So I hope if you teach in such a manner, our students are able to understand. That is the core aim of the thing. So as a conclusion, we have to achieve our outcome. How we students is able to know how to use the Excel as a tool for decision making. simple. Problem is very simple. But how many decisions we can take? That is the deep understanding. Okay? Yes. Now, if you are having any doubt, you can ask. Thank you. Participants, you can. I will share this sheet also. Okay. At the end, I will share the sheet to the group. Yes, participants, you can unmute and ask questions. Any doubts you can raise. Okay, thank you. I think you might. Thank you, Ranjita Madam. Yes, we'll come to the next stage. Now you can give your feedback about this thing, and you can also tell us how we can improve this program. Our aim is to impart the practical knowledge. Of course, due to time limits, we are unable to do. But you can practice all those things. It will be very helpful in your college. You can practice all those things. I think we are sharing the Google form so that you can fill slowly. I will also share in the group. It takes minimum 1 month time for certification. Don't mistaken me, because the main thing we expect is since the auditing is going on, okay, I think some issues in Google form. Wait, I will change. I will give permission. I given the access to that. Yes, now you can check the Google form whether it is working.
Yes, sir, it is working.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Any feedback you can give openly also. Now it is open to you. Yes, I had shared in the group, WhatsApp group also. Yes, but now participant, you can switch on your camera for the group photo. Automatically your image will come and sit here. You can switch on your camera. Okay, no issues. If you are not working, no issue. Your name is displaying because we need all the names to be displayed. Nice. Okay. Okay, I think you are taken. Thank you, dear participants. We will send the certificates within a month time because it is the auditing time. Our office will verify and within a month time they will send. You can send the messages in the group. The WhatsApp group will continue till you receive the certificates. Okay. Thank you once again for participating.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.